So, ladies and gentlemen, something seems a bit off. Jay-Z is executing a very aggressive PR campaign, and many people, including Jay-Z, have come out recently, now that the dust has settled from the Kendrick and Drake beef a few years ago. They're now coming out, and it feels as though they're singing a different tune, and also they're saying that they believe that the beef was bad and they wish it never happened. And it makes you wonder, why are they saying this, and why are they saying this now? Is this because of a genuine feeling that they have? Like, is it because they actually did some reflecting and are looking at things differently? Or is it a combination of some of their affiliates are getting hit with similar accusations to what Drake got accused of, and now they don't like how that feels? Is it also a combination of them being a bit surprised that Drake, miraculously was able to stay afloat despite getting cooked back in 2024? I want to talk about these different possibilities in this video. Before we keep going, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. So there was a Jay-Z interview that dropped earlier today with GQ magazine. And again, there's been a very aggressive PR campaign being executed right now with Jay-Z. I do think the timing of it is very funny, and I'm gonna use the word timing a lot in this video because again, to me, a lot of the things that are happening, I don't think these things are happening just because, like, again, the timing feels too perfect. But one of the many things Jay-Z has decided to do recently, now that he wants to be put back in the public eye, is, he talked about several things in this GQ interview. One of the main things they started off with was talking about how angry he felt when he was hit with accusations because, again, as we all know, a few months ago when the Epstein files started to be released to the public, to everybody's surprise, or well, to many people's surprise, Jay-Z and Pusha T were listed in those files. Now, many people may argue that the claims or the allegations in those files aren't legit because of this or that or whatever. But again, y'all are mainly saying that because you like these people. And I'm not saying it's the wrong idea to use common sense and to not believe everything you see, but I'm gonna talk later in this video about how many of these same people, if those same accusations in the Epstein files were listed about some other people like Drake, many of these same people would not use that sort of logic. They would have just ran with those accusations no matter what. But still, one of the main things in this interview that caught my attention is when he was asked about the whole beef saga between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and Jay-Z is claiming that he wished that it never happened. And he says that he doesn't know if battling should be a part of hip hop anymore, basically implying that it should be essentially eradicated, and the only sort of battling that should happen from this point forward should be on like guest features on each other's songs and stuff like that. And the vibe of that statement that he said in that GQ interview, it gave off the same vibe as when Jay-Z a few years ago said we're past kneeling when it comes to the whole NFL saga, when players were kneeling. And he said we're past kneeling, as if he speaks for everybody, which is the issue I have with Jay-Z. Even though I like Jay-Z as an artist, I like everybody who I'm about to critique as an artist. Like, there's several people I'm about to talk about, and musically, I like all of these people. I like all of these people musically, but again, they're still humans. You can dislike things that they do as a person. And I don't like that Jay-Z has a habit of trying to speak for everybody, because I don't know about you guys, but Jay-Z does not speak for me at all. So I don't like when he makes these, like, when he comes out of nowhere with these declarations as if he's speaking for everybody, like as if he's the king of black people. Like, I don't know where this audacity comes from, but that may be another conversation. But to get back to the past kneeling statement, he only threw that statement out there once he already had his own deal lined up with the NFL, and he had a way that he could benefit. That's when he wanted to make that declaration. So it also makes you wonder, now that he has made this declaration of wanting battling to be removed, it makes you wonder, does he have another deal behind the scenes up his sleeve lined up that he doesn't want people to know about just yet, that is, incentivizing him to have this, statement put out there that we shouldn't battle anymore? It makes you wonder, right? Like, only time will tell if there is something else to that. But in my opinion, I definitely don't think it was a good look. So, as far as, again, the battle, he was saying how he doesn't like, he mentioned several times how he doesn't like, when you throw out certain accusations and bring people's kids into it. And, again, which to me sounded very weird because, as we all know, the battle went into some dark places. And of course, Kendrick infamously has the Not Like Us song where he accuses Drake of being a pedophile. And not to say Drake is innocent, because Drake also, mind you, Drake name dropped Kendrick's fiance or his baby mama um, on the push up song where he said, I'm gonna be with some bodyguards like Whitney. But still, Kendrick obviously went very far by alleging Drake has another secret child, making the Meet the Graham song where he's talking to all of Drake's family in a hypothetical scenario, and also the pedophile claims. And to me, I just thought it was very interesting that he's claiming he does not like these things and these things are not okay, but you still featured Kendrick at the Super Bowl. Now, Jay-Z defended that by saying, hey, he tried to make it seem like it was all one big coincidence. Like, oh no, Kendrick was just having the biggest year ever, and it was a no-brainer. And I'm like, yes, he is having the biggest year ever, but it's still on the back of a beef that was mainly won, that was unanimously won once Kendrick literally threw out pedophile accusations. Like, so to me, the Jay-Z, I just didn't feel like Jay-Z was being genuine in this interview. It just felt like a lot of him trying to control the narrative, which is fine, obviously, but to me, something about it definitely seems off. And then Jay-Z also says that he didn't book Kendrick on the Super Bowl to undermine Drake, and he tried to downplay it by saying, "Oh well, I'm Jay-Z," and I'm like, to me, the Jay-Z has had a long history. For the people that don't know, Jay-Z has had a long history of trying to sabotage people and undermine people and do things to try to take digs at people. He's a very petty person. So for him to try to gaslight us into believing that he would never be the type to do something like that, to get at somebody, to undermine them, like, that's ridiculous. Like, you're trying to gaslight people into thinking that you're just so mature, that you're just above all of that, which isn't true, because for like 30 years you had several instances of doing the opposite. So I just thought that was very interesting. And again, it's hard for me to believe that you are now against the idea of battling, but you still went out of your way to feature an artist who was obviously going to end the show by performing a song that was, in theory, supposed to be the burial of Drake. And again, like I said, I like all these artists. I like Kendrick. I definitely think he won the battle, but I just think the discourse that has come about the past couple of months, where it feels like a lot of people in hip hop are trying to rewrite history and make it seem as if it was something other than what it was. That definitely bothers me a bit. Now, he also, I'm not against the idea of people not wanting battling to be a part of hip hop anymore, even though I think it should always look. You have literally an entire subgenre of hip hop that's literally called battle rap, which is obviously that's organized battle rapping. I think that always is going to exist, and I think it should always exist. But I could understand people not wanting another Drake and Kendrick situation, because even though the battle itself was very fun, it was very entertaining to watch from the outside looking in, it obviously had a lot of damage over the past couple of years. Some things that you could directly correlate to the battle, some things that you could kind of correlate, but it's not 100% guarantee that it could be linked to the battle. Like for example, hip hop over the past like year and a half has struggled to be within the top 40 of the Hot 100. Like even right now, you could check the charts right now, at least the Billboard charts. You are not going to see any hip hop songs within like that top 20. Like, you know, and there's still songs on the charts, but it's like, you know, lower on the charts, obviously. That's not something you could directly correlate to the battle, but some people have made correlations in their videos explaining why they believe it's a ripple effect. And you know, but again, to get back to the timing of this, like I said earlier in this video, the timing just seems very odd in my opinion. It feels too perfect, like something feels off here. And I can't help but notice some other things that are happening and that have already happened. For example, one of the executives at Top Dog Entertainment, Kendrick Lamar's label, a label that he was literally signed to for 20 years, I believe the guy who was hit with the charge was Musa. So an executive at TDE, he's been hit with sexual assault charges, and that's gonna go to trial in July of 2027. Now I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. I don't know. I'm not here to say if he is, but I do think it's very interesting that when somebody tied to Kendrick Lamar is hit with these charges, nobody wants to talk about it. But again, everybody, when Drake was getting cooked, everybody swore up and down that he was the only one out here moving with questionable people. And to me, I just don't like the hypocrisy of it. You know, again, like I said, I like all these artists, but I don't like the hypocrisy that surround the discourse involving these artists, and you know, some of the talking points that both sides of these fan bases will throw at each other. Because again, the TDE exec literally has what people would call a weird case on him right now, and nobody wants to talk about it. Like legit, nobody is talking about it for the most part. And but again, we all know if it was Drake or one of Drake's people, it would be front page news all the way until the trial starts in July of 2027. And another reason the timing of this feels weird is, again, Jay-Z and Pusha T, as we know a few months ago, they were listed in the Epstein files. Now, again, many people may say that, hey, the stuff that was listed in the Epstein files, it doesn't really have much evidence behind it, and blah, 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 which is a very good point. But my main issue is you guys wouldn't use that logic with Drake. That's my main point here. Like, and to me, it's just like, it's very loud. It's very loud hypocrisy that it kind of irritates me. Like, you know, because I'm just like, it doesn't make sense. Like, again, if Drake was listed in the Epstein files, even if there was no evidence, everybody would have ran with it as if it was true. And I know everybody would have ran with it as if it was true, because that's what happened during the battle. Like, Kendrick literally accused Drake of having a secret child and never provided proof, and everybody still just believed it. And then Kendrick said Drake be touching kids, and again had no proof, but everybody believed it. Which, you know, again, it's just interesting seeing the psychology of a lot of people and seeing how people act when it comes to somebody they admire compared to when it's somebody who they don't really like and who they consider more of an easy target, or somebody who they may be jealous of, because there could just be an element of also a lot of people feeling jealous of Drake because they feel like he's been at the top for too long. Like, he's been occupying that space for like what, almost 20 years now. It could be that too. You know, it's again a very interesting timing, just everything happening, because now even in the past 2 months, I've seen Michael Made It come out of the woodwork and do interviews again, and he's giving props to Drake. And then I seen 2 Chainz do the same thing, and it again, the timing feels very, it feels too perfect. Like, this is not a coincidence, man. Like, it just, again, it feels as though, again, to me, it's a combination of people are seeing that despite Drake getting cooked in 2024, you know, somehow, you know, he's managed to stay afloat. Now, is he still at his peak of his powers? I don't necessarily think so, but I think he is still done a better job of staying relevant than many people expected, because it looked as if he was pretty much on borrowed time after the beef had happened. Like, it was like you were about to really witness him fall off a cliff. But again, he stayed afloat, and it feels like a lot of people, because he stayed afloat and their hope that he would fall off didn't come true, they're now trying to come back around and say positive things about him, or try to make it seem as though they may have been neutral, or they may have not been in favor of what happened, which to me, I find that a bit disingenuous, because people do that all the time in real life. Just again, when you were at your worst, they saw what was happening. They saw what was happening. They didn't want to stand by you, but if you somehow make your way out of it and rise above it, now everybody comes back around. I just think that's very fascinating. Like, human psychology, you could see it in hip hop, you could see it in movies, you can see it all over the place on social media, right? But again, let me know, do you believe that Jay-Z is doing this PR campaign to distract people from any allegations that either already came out or might be coming down the pipeline? And also, I want to end this video with a clip from DJ Academics, because regardless of how some of you may feel about him, he 100% accurately predicted what Jay-Z was going to do after he got named in the Epstein files. He accurately predicted all of the stuff that Jay-Z is now currently doing. And I want to end this video with that. Hopefully I don't get hit with any sort of copyright strikes.
I'm going to watch this cycle, because this is going to be the cycle that shows how quickly they could get you to move on if they just throw some music in your face and throw like a big presentation. Man, fuck all them questions you asking. Let me perform Dead Presidents. I want to see if it happens again. This will be an amazing spectacle, and I want to see how it... So, already it's happening. I'll let you know it's happening. You're going to hear some big announcements soon, y'all. Oh, hey. We're donating this, and there's going to be a donation too. I'm telling you this. We're donating this. We're doing this for charity. You got to make it the Trojan horse thing. You can't look a gift horse in its mouth. This is where the give back comes. Diddy gave nothing back for 30 years until he knew the feds was on him. Hey, take your masters back. This is how it works. The give back, the philanthropy, the humanity, the isn't he a good guy? Damn, he really fucks with us. Those moments are coming. It's going to be packaged with a celebration of the album, and it's going to be a complete media wash of everybody dick riding the album, telling stories about what they were doing in 96, if they were selling a fucking dime bag of weed, if they were fucking stealing out the record store, if they were fucking cheating on a bitch. We're gonna hear it all, and watch this PR run. Everybody, especially some of these media niggas who did not want to speak about, or even just have casual conversations about some of the things people are talking about when it comes to these people, they're gonna be enamored with, oh my God, look at this guy, he's so powerful. Look, he used AI to recreate Reasonable Doubt. Look, there's a movie, there's this. Watch.